welcome, welcome. I had what I call a download the other day of a whole, just a different way of doing our practice of loop of awareness, and to also assist us in understanding that loop of awareness and love scoops are primarily about supporting presence and connection, and to move from fear and isolation into presence and connection. And so I wanted to just lead you through this for the purpose of you establishing a practice of your own loop of awareness, particularly of your own loop of awareness, so that you understand the different parts of it that make everything amplify your ability to receive the medicine of attention. That attention is something that we can choose, something that we have control over, and something that I think is really undervalued for how important attention is. I say it's as important as food and water. And so part of the practice is for you to really be able to receive all of that. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to give yourself a shower of attention. I'd like you to actually imagine that attention is showering over you. And like one of the reasons I love a shower is that it refreshes, but there's something energetic about a shower, that it opens up awareness. So what I'd like you to do is shower yourself with attention and then let your body respond. So imagining attention flowing all over you and then just letting your body respond to that however your body wants to. And that includes sound, especially because you have your sound turned off now. You can have all the ums and ahs and that you would like. So give yourself a shower of attention and make sure it comes all the way down and covers your feet as well, so that you can imagine that shower of attention that you're both resting in, you're experiencing, and is flowing over and around you. And whenever you do this yourself, you can let that be going on as long as you like. It's like sometimes, aside from when we were in serious drought here in California, one of the great pleasures is to just let the water run over you. So for about 5 years, I would not do that. I'd get in and I'd spritz and then I'd wash and then I'd rinse. But now the pleasure of unlimited, well, limited, it's limited, but giving myself a little bit more. So notice how much attention are you willing to give yourself before something else occurs, like, oh, that's enough now, or you have work to do, or other people need attention, some kind of other voice comes in. And then I'd like you to let yourself shower that off so that you have that sense of, I can receive lots and lots of attention. That's part of our opening up to giving and receiving more love, is giving and receiving more attention. So one of the things about loop of awareness is that it's about giving and receiving. So I'd like you to just notice as you are letting your attention come out, either to my voice or you're noticing other people, are you giving your attention or are you paying attention? So just to give you a little contrast, let yourself pay attention. Like when you're in school and the teacher says, pay attention. Notice what happens to your body. When I pay attention, I feel my attention narrowing. Yes, I was seeing some of you making that gesture. And I also notice that I don't breathe as fully. My breathing comes up and gets a little bit more, held. So paying attention, in my experience, fosters fear. But when I'm giving attention, notice if you can just even use your hands. So you're giving attention out, and then you're giving attention to you, and giving attention out. And just notice the difference, the sensory difference between paying attention and giving attention. So I was noticing, Darlene, this is another great pay attention. That's a real like whoop, immediately I think I'm in trouble. So, paying attention is how we're usually educated about attention, whereas giving attention. I was just in the farmer's market yesterday, and there's one of our farmers has the best arugula. It's just divine, it's peppery and big leaves, and and I was appreciating him. And I could tell he was looking at me, and I could tell that he could tell that something was going on and he didn't know what it was. But I was giving him my full appreciative attention, and I could see him, actually unfurling like a plant. And he started sort of beaming, and he was still a little confused, but I could tell he liked it, and he could feel my attention. So when you're giving attention and receiving attention, it has that quality of being able to connect and nourish. And that's what I want to support. So the general loop of awareness is giving your attention and receiving attention. So you can receive attention from you. We usually think that it has to come from somebody else. But loop of awareness, you give attention out and you receive attention that either you give to you or that you receive from your surroundings or from other people. So there are three things I'd like you to choose. I'd like you to choose the shape of your attention. So I've played with all kinds of things like a fan, fanning your attention out, letting it be like a sprinkler, letting it be really direct and landing. So let yourself, I had the image the other day too, because as my practice as a dance therapist, I would play with all kinds of props. And one of them was a big parachute, a silk parachute, a giant silk parachute. And so thinking of that, sending that out would be a kind of a shape. Or if you're thinking of a benign boomerang that you toss it out and then it comes back to you. So right now, I'd like you to choose the shape of your attention for your practice today. If you want it to be like a ping pong ball, you'll kadunk, kadunk, kadunk. So you let yourself just go ahead and choose. So the shape, because we usually don't give any attention to that, give notice to how we're using our attention. So when you do that, it allows you to amplify your attention and the power of your attention. And I'd also then like you to choose the pace. So if you're scared, you're likely to notice that your attention is going to, it's probably faster. So I'd like you to actually choose how fast or slow do you want your attention to be going out and coming back to you. Generally, for my practice, I like to slow down so I can really savor the act of what I'm noticing, and then when I'm bringing it back to me, what I'm noticing. So we have the shape and the pace, but what people often forget is the rhythm. So your attention can have a waltz rhythm, like out, 2, 3, back, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, back, 2, 3. Or it could be more like a rap. We're going tink, 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 tink. So find the rhythm of your attention, because that will allow you to experience it more even in your body. So you've got your shape and your pace and your rhythm. So let yourself play with that a little bit. And if you get totally confused, just come back to being with yourself for a moment and seeing how your body wants to be receiving your attention. And then come back to maybe even one of them, like what's the shape of the attention that you would like to be playing with today? But as you're practicing at home, These are the dimensions that I find to be the most foundational to allow you to continue your practice to receive the nourishment of attention. And then the last thing I want to invite you to add is an intention to your attention. And the two that I find to be most useful are curiosity and appreciation. So as you're playing with your, like if we're playing with the waltz rhythm, out, 2, 3, back, 2, 3. So if you're just playing with that, just as a way of, so adding a to that will activate curiosity for you. Adding your sensitive awareness, like you're a sea anemone, the water's flowing over you, that will add sensitive awareness. Appreciation, we always think of as kind of, oh, that's good. Thank you. Appreciate you. But appreciation is actually bringing your sensitive awareness to what's occurring. So I like to think of that. I love think of Finding Nemo and the little, kind of peeking out from the little sea anemones. To me, that's a definition of appreciation. So your attention and your intention, when I put all of those together, I have this sense of expanding space in me. So I want to give you a couple of moments just to put all of those together for you. I'll just review them. You can add them in and just notice how that impacts your sense of the flow of aliveness in you primarily, because that's really what I'm up to with Loop of Awareness, is to expand our ability not only to give and receive love, but to expand our ability to enjoy the flow of aliveness moment to moment. So you have the shape of your attention. So one of the ones that I really like is I'm expanding out to see kind of what's going on in the space and then focusing. So I call this one fanning and focusing. So that would be a shape of attention. So your shape of attention, then adding in what's the most delicious pace for you right now? Is that maybe faster than you are or slower? Just let yourself choose a pace. So you have your shape and your pace, and then adding in a rhythm. So, like when I was playing golf, haven't played for a while now, but one of the things I realized is that at the height of the backswing, if I just paused for a second before I did the downswing, it made my stroke much more powerful. So it's again that the sense of rhythm in you. So the pause and whoosh the other direction. So adding in, you got shape and pace and rhythm, and then choose whether you would like to focus on curiosity with that, or you'd like to focus on sensitive awareness, letting yourself have that sea anemone, and let yourself just play with that for a minute or so that you get a sense of which of these feel most powerful for you to take into your weekly practice. And I'm just going to be focusing on you all and appreciating you while you're doing that. I find my breath will let me know whether I'm really choosing something that supports my aliveness, because when I am my breath, I get more of and a sense of space inside, which for me provides more choice. That sense of I am choosing, and my choosing opens up the world for me rather than my reacting and being which is I think how the culture a lot wants us, because we get anxious and then we buy stuff. So to take charge of your own aliveness puts you really at source for how you're wanting to live your life. So that's my download, and I appreciate you playing with me with that. And so now For those of you who maybe haven't been here in a while or maybe new, welcome. First, welcome to the community. We've been doing this for 3 years now, and it's my favorite part of the week. And this year, I've decided to, instead of Presence Connect Play, I want to share with you an integrity card each week, so that by the end of the year, we'll have gone through all of the integrity cards. And the reason that for doing that is that I find the practice of integrity the most, I didn't want to say, it's not exactly healing, it's the most grounding, centering, companionable way of creating a new foundation for being in the world. Because things are pretty crazy out there right now, in case you live in a part of the world where that may not be occurring, but over here, it's pretty crazy. And having a way to come home to myself that puts me at choice is how I find the integrity cards create a way of responding to the world rather than reacting, where I can give and receive in a way that doesn't compromise my sense of wholeness. So all of the integrity cards are to support your expanding sense of wholeness. And so the one I picked for today, I'm going to hold up and see if I can get it where it doesn't have a shine on it. And it has in it a very large spider web that covers the whole thing. And at the bottom is a lovely tree in the midst of, is it fog or is it something emerging? So let yourself just, take in as much as you can of this. You can find the card when you, with your own deck. And will also be, yeah, there's another picture of it. See, it's different. The colors are different depending on what kind of video system you're using here. So what I'd like to have you do is to let yourself listen to me saying the sentence and then the question. And again, just letting your body respond. This is from the conscious communication part of the 4 pillars. So I speak in a way that generates connection rather than argument. I'm just going to say that one again. It seems like really valuable right now. I speak in a way that generates connection rather than argument. So imagine if you had a way of speaking. I'm just thinking about some of our council meetings here in our little town of Ojai. They've gotten pretty contentious. And if everyone knew how to speak in a way that generated connection rather than argument, boy, that would solve a lot of problems in the world and also generate solutions to the real problems that we have rather than the problems of na. So here's the question. In what ways can I speak that are real and descriptive? In what ways can I speak that are real and descriptive? So for me, those two modifiers are incredibly important, real and descriptive. So descriptive, if I'm going to focus on one way of shifting my way of communicating, growing my ability to describe, growing your ability to describe what's going on for you, but also what's going on when you notice someone else, what happens for you, being able to describe that rather than, all of the surface things that we're taught to do, like I'm fine, or I don't agree with that, or or, the ways that sort of bounce off connection, whereas description for me really opens up the space of connection. And the more I can describe, for example, instead of I feel weird or that was stupid, I can describe, when I heard that, I felt my breath kind of hold, and then I felt my cheeks get hot, and I started feeling confused. So one, that's real, it's descriptive, And it's really taking responsibility for my own experience rather than implying that you did something that's making me feel that way. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're just going to have to figure it out. So the skills in this one, just practicing that, I think would make a huge difference in our ability to receive the nurturing of connection. So I'd like you to just take a moment and see for yourself, can you describe what you're experiencing right now? Just out loud for yourself. How can you describe? And for me, this also opens up, I need more words. I need more descriptors. So in our trainings, we often focus on what are active descriptors, like active verbs, like I'm vibrating, I am experiencing a tremor, I experience the bottom just dropped out of my stomach, and landed in the basement. So the more descriptive you are, the more other people can receive your communication and actually try it on for themselves. So it also is to counter our, instead of descriptive, most people get analytical, or judgmental. They go up and they analyze and all of the different analyses that we can do, but it keeps us in our head rather than in the rich whole body thinking that we can do when we describe. So I thought this would be a good card for practice for this week. One of the things I like to do is to look at the image, because like now I'm looking at it and there's a whole mountain behind the tree that I was not really taking in before. And each time I look at the collages, something else opens up for me with the colors and the shapes. And so that is part of the exploration, is that we're using whole body thinking. So the invitation for you this week is to focus on describing. And then practicing. And I'd love to hear any, if you want to share in your group about this practice, how that worked for you, any comments about that you'd like to share, would love to hear those, because I think I want to do a version of this every week so that we get a sense of this is a practice that you can take and then you can then amplify. So thanks for being here and playing with me. And I'm going to take my leave for right now. And please stay as long as you like, as long as other people will put up with you and have big talk. And I'll see you next time. Take care.